Okay, we're going to start out with pork and beans. Now this is a 9 by 13. This recipe is easy to make. Sorry about that, guys. We're doing laundry too. This recipe is really easy to make smaller portions or bigger portions. Like if I was taking it to a family reunion or a church dinner, you could just make, multiply your ingredients accordingly. So today I'm making a 9 by 13 pan, and I've used 4 of the regular cans of pork and beans. So the first is 4 cans of pork and beans. Now next to the recipe, I'm going to add a medium onion. Now this is your preference. If you don't like onion, you don't have to add onion. And if you like teeny tiny pieces, you can put teeny tiny pieces. I leave them about this size because they're going to cook down, and we enjoy the onion. And so this is a medium onion. It's actually 2 small onions, but you can put in 2 small onions or you can put in a medium onion, whichever you prefer, whatever you have on hand. And if that's not enough, you can add more. So I'm going to say that this is probably, just by looking at this and getting this mixed in, I'm going to say for 4 cans of pork and beans, regular 15-ounce cans of pork and beans, a medium onion is about the right size of onion that you want. But leave them out if you don't like them. Okay, to that you're going to add bacon. Now again, this is up to you. If you don't want meat in your pork and beans, you can leave the meat out, but it is really good with bacon in it. And this is a pound. My recipe calls for a pound of cooked and crumbled bacon. So we're just going to put that right in there and stir that in. Now of course, if you're going to have more, you're probably going to want to add more bacon, and you may not want the bacon at all. Flexible recipe. Some baked bean recipes call for ketchup, and I don't use ketchup in my baked beans. I just use the spices and the seasonings that I'm getting ready to show you. And I think baked beans is probably as regional as barbecue sauce is, and everybody has their own. In the winter time, I like to bake. My dad makes a baked bean called meaty baked beans, or at least that's what we call it, and it has hamburger and bacon in it. But this is the baked beans that I like to make in the summertime. I don't know that there's any difference other than we always had my dad's baked beans at Christmas, and so I associate that with wintertime baked beans, and this I associate with cookouts. Okay, so I've got the bacon in there, and you might want to use a little less bacon if you want to. It's just up to you, but my family likes this. Okay, the next ingredient that I have is mustard. Now I measured out 1/3 cup, and like I told you, I eyeball it, so I'm not really sure if this will be all of the mustard that we need, but I'm putting 1/3 a cup of just regular yellow mustard. Nothing special, yellow mustard. To start with, 1/3 cup. Smells good, and I know that I don't know if you can tell on camera, you're probably thinking, oh, that's too much mustard, but it really isn't. Okay, the next ingredient that I'm going to put in it is brown sugar. Now I have a cup measured here, and I'm going to start with about half of it, just to eyeball and see what I think. I already can tell I'm probably going to put more in there. by the time I get done getting this all mixed together, it won't be yellow from the mustard. It's going to be a darker color. And these beans are a dark green, not a dark green bean, a dark baked bean. Get it out in a minute. And now when you cook it, it's up to you how thick you want them. You can stop it, you know, once they're cooked, you can stop it and leave them still a little bit juicy, or you can go as much as you want. Some people like a really dry baked bean. I don't like them that dry, but I don't like them soupy either. Okay, I probably am going, let me get a spoon. I can tell you guys that I think I'm probably going to add more just by looking at this. I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of it. So you guys are probably thinking, oh my goodness. But I'm going to go ahead and add that whole cup of brown sugar to the recipe. But you know, some people add ketchup, and ketchup has a lot of sugar in it, so I guess that's one way to look at it. And you're not having these all the time either. So this is a treat. Okay, now I have one more ingredient, and I'm going to start out. Now I know you guys, I've already put in a cup of brown sugar, but for an extra depth and more color and more goodness, I'm going to add the next. Let me eyeball it before I tell you what it is to see if I think I'm going to need it all. Yep, I'm going to need it all. This is 1/4 of a cup of molasses. Like I said, guys, this is not a this isn't a figure-friendly recipe. This is a good recipe, rich recipe. I guess I need to write these recipes down so somebody's got them in the future in case the Lord calls me home. Somebody will know how to make my baked beans. Okay, I'm going to taste it here, guys. I'm thinking that's good. So I'll leave these measurements the way they are. And I'll put them down in the bottom of the recipe because I don't want to confuse anybody by how I just put this recipe together. But like I said, this is one of my eyeball recipes. And we've all got them where we just throw it together because we've made it so many times. And so it's good to know. It's good to know how much of each ingredient that we're putting in there. So I'm going to put this in a 350-degree oven. It'll cook for, I'll start looking at it at about 40 minutes. And depending on how thick it's getting, I will pull it out. And most of the time I cook it, it ends up being about an hour. But just watch it for the consistency that you and your family like. If you like it thicker, you're going to cook it longer. If you like it thinner, you're just going to cook it long enough to get it to set, and then you'll be ready to eat it. Here's what our baked beans look like as they've come out of the oven and they're super hot. They're ready to go down to the dinner. And I can show you. This is the texture, or this is the consistency. Now I could go a little longer, and I like them a little bit drier than this, but I'm going to take this for the family, and as they cool they'll set up just a little bit more. Well guys, I've got the homemade macaroni and cheese ready, the corn's ready, and we've got our baked beans ready to go. And we're headed down to Papa Tex and Granny's to have a nice afternoon meal, and then we got to come back and do more chores. I hope you guys are having a good Labor Day. Be safe, and we'll see you next time. This is Josie with Cedar Creek Homestead. I love you guys. I really do. And until next time, we're gone.